Okay guys, I want to talk about some gun advice that I've given people in the past that I actually regret that I had ever given them this advice or steered them in a certain direction, and I'm going to tell you like 3 different examples and I'm going to explain why. Now you don't see a lot of videos like this on YouTube because what most people don't like to do is admit when they feel that they gave the wrong advice or tell why they think they did something wrong. Most people only want to talk about what they feel that they've done right, and you know, that's okay. To each his own, I guess. So let's go ahead and start out with the one that really comes to mind, because every time I see a Taurus judge, I think of this, and it bothers me every single time. This is the Taurus judge nightmare, I call it, because let me explain why, and then I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that gun and what I think of it and its role. So some years ago, I was going to a gun show with some friends and with some relatives of mine, and there was a guy going that knows me, knows who I am, knows what I do, but we're not close friends. We don't hang out, but he's known me for years, and he's connected with some of the same friends and family as me. So this was back when the Taurus judge had been out for not too long of a time, and it was really getting hyped up in certain circles, and people were really pushing it, and the marketing was out there. And now this guy is not a gun guy. He says he likes guns. He doesn't own guns. He didn't own a gun at the time, and he's not a gun guy, and he doesn't go out shooting on any kind of regular basis. He comes to the gun show and shows up with some people that I know mutually, and we're walking around the gun show, and he comes up to me, and he's like, "Hey, Paul." He's like, I mean, this guy's totally excited, totally hyped up. He's like, "Hey, man, I trust you." He goes, "And all I want you to do is just say the word." He said, "I want to get a Taurus judge." And he said, "I'm really wanting to get this Taurus judge, and if you just give me the okay, and I'm going to go over there and buy one right now." Here's where the fun begins. I told him that I did not think at all that he should get a Taurus judge. I just seen his whole demeanor just sink, because everybody that we knew was there around us. And I said, no, you do not think you should get that Taurus judge at all. He thought that I was going to say, "Okay, yeah, man, a Taurus judge is sweet, go for it." And he was going to go over there and get the gun and be all happy. And I told him, no, I don't think that gun is for you. Well, that's not really what I think hurt him most, but what hurt him most is it wasn't like he thought I was the king, like I just give one word and that's written in stone. It was because I kind of broke it down to him. I said, look, number one is you don't have other firearms. So as an all-around firearm, I would definitely not recommend this to you as your first firearm, because I would want you to have something that has more capacity so that when you're in your home, that you would have, for you and your family, he's got a wife and kids, so for you and your family, you would have more ammo for some kind of a home invasion where there's multiple attackers. And then also, if you get your carry conceal permit, which I'm sure you'll want to after you get a gun, not long after that, you'll want to get your carry conceal permit, and I want you to have something that you can also use as home defense, take with you when you leave the house, and also practice with, all with the same gun. I said, now, if you had other guns, and you had, whatever, even if you just had a pistol, a shotgun, an AR, whatever, then I could say, yeah, you want to get this, go ahead and get it. I said, but the 410 was never designed to come out of a barrel that's this long. It doesn't really have knockdown power. Now, guys, hold with me here, because I am going to give you some pluses to the Taurus judge, so don't think I'm just totally writing this gun off or saying it's crap or it's no good. I'm not doing that. But this is what I was explaining to him. The 410 was never designed to come out of a 3 or 2 inch barrel like this. It just wasn't. I told him, as far as self-defense, in the home, that thing spreads really quick. So depending on how close you are, it's better the closer they are. And, you could use it for self-defense. Is your wife going to be able to shoot this thing good? Just all around, his wife is small. Just all around, this was just a no-go for this guy. After explaining everything, he kind of got the drift of what I was saying. And I remember the whole day, his demeanor was different the whole day. And ever since then, this guy's never even bought a gun to this day. And ever since then, every time I see a Taurus judge, I say, Paul, why didn't you just tell that guy, yeah, go ahead and get that Taurus judge, because you know what? That Taurus judge would be better by his bed than what he has now, which is nothing. So It could have gotten him into guns. It could have opened up a whole new world when he went to go target shoot. It could have done so many things if I'd have just backed him and said, go ahead and get that Taurus Judge. You know what? I should have just smiled and said, get it. I didn't have to get all technical and break it down. And every time I see a Taurus Judge, it bothers me because he was so happy and so excited, you know, to get this new toy that he wanted. He was so happy that day, and I just totally broke it all down. And he wasn't the same guy the whole day that he was there at the gun show, and he didn't buy anything else. Real quickly here, let me go over. The Taurus Judge is a great gun for anti-carjacking gun if you have it in your car at close range with some of the PDX-1 rounds. Totally for that. You could use it as a self-defense gun. Most encounters are going to be close up and personal, but here's the thing. If it's going to be your first or your only gun, I don't recommend the Taurus Judge for the reasons I've given you. You want something you can take to the range, practice a lot with cheap ammo. You want something that you can carry on your person easily. You want something with high-capacity rounds for in your home for a multiple attackers or a home invasion. Now, just so you know I'm not a hypocrite, let's talk about something else. As many of you know, I've been talking about this lately, this little Bond Arms Derringer 357 Magnum that I just recently bought, okay? You guys have seen this, I've done a video on this. Let me tell you right now, I would not have recommended that to this guy. I would have recommended this less than the Taurus Judge to that guy. So don't think if you own a Taurus Judge, don't think I'm putting you down, don't think I'm telling you your gun's crap, because I would have recommended this less than that Taurus Judge, because you'd even have less capacity. This has a specific role. This has a specific duty. And this thing is to a guy like me that has a whole big, beautiful safe with a lot of guns in it. This thing is just something to add to the collection that I can use for self-defense or a backup. Practice with it and you can use it. And it's not my only gun. It's not my first gun. So this also I would not recommend to somebody in his situation. Okay, let's talk about the second regret that I have of helping somebody or giving somebody gun advice. Here's the thing, guys. When people know you as a gun guy, or I'm sure a lot of you are in the same position as me, they say, oh yeah, he's the gun guy, he's the gun man, go to him, ask him, you know, whatever. That happens a lot with me, and I'm not trying to say that I'm somebody special, it just happens a lot with me. So another person that wasn't really a shooter, had shotguns and was a hunter, and did well at hunting deer and hunting different animals, but wasn't a handgun guy, didn't go to the range and practice with handguns very often at all, and didn't have handguns, I don't believe. He might have had like a revolver. But he was talking to me because he was looking into the, I believe it was the Glock 20 or the 29, but I think it was the Glock 20. So it was a 10 millimeter Glock that he was thinking about getting. And I'm backing him 100%. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, the Glock 10 millimeter, that's a good gun. And, you know, this is the 29, but I'm pretty sure he wanted the 20 because he was thinking, you know, what he could do with it, and like maybe even in a hunting capacity. And I'm going, yeah, you know, the Glock 20, man, that's a great gun. The 10 millimeter round's so versatile. You can do this, you can do that, everything you can do with it. Well, here we go. The guy gets the gun. I hear from him, I don't know how long later, a month or whatever. His wife doesn't like it. She can't shoot it well. He can't shoot it accurately. He's tried different rounds. He's got some powerful stuff. Because I recommended, you know, get the powerful stuff if you're going to shoot a 10 millimeter. That's what it's designed for. Wasn't happy with the gun. He said, you know, look, I'm not shooting it accurately. I'm trying my best. So number one, I shouldn't have recommended that hard to this guy without trying one first, because seeing that he was not an avid handgun shooter, it would even take more for him to overcome the flinch factor of shooting 10 millimeters with high-end heavy loads. Number two, I didn't really know his wife was going to be involved, but I would not have recommended it for his wife. Number one, the grip is really wide. It's a bigger grip than most other guns. The round is more powerful than most other guns, and I would not have said this is the gun that your wife should start with and go out to the range and practice with. So I should have thought more on that one, but I regret telling this guy that he should have bought a G20 without even having tested it first before I looked more into the situation. I custom tailor what I recommend to each person. It's not a blanket thing. I have to kind of look at what you are, what you do, what you have before I can recommend something to you with a surety. Okay, now the third and final regret that I have of giving advice to people about guns is I know several guys like this, and I'm sure you do too. Guys that get some money, or they get a tax return, or whatever happens, they get extra money, or they save some money, and they don't have guns, they don't collect guns, but they want to go get a gun. They're like, I want to go get a gun. And I remember back some years ago when the AR scare was going on, a guy that's really not into guns, he just wanted to go get an AR. Because he heard, how the liberals were wanting to ban it, and the other people and the gun guys and the shooters were buying them up. The market was drying up and everybody wanted them, and they were like top priority, and it was all over the news. He decided he wanted an AR-15. Now, this is a guy that has gotten guns in the past, and he frequently turned them. So what I mean by that is he would get a gun, he would have it for maybe 3 months, maybe as long as a year, but he would always end up selling the gun. He would always end up running out of money, needing cash, and he would sell that firearm. Always. And you and I both know people like that. So they get a gun, and then later they're back to square one, they have no gun. So this was one of those guys. So I figured that later on down the line, this guy would sell the gun. So basically what happened was, he wanted to get an AR-15, and I kind of pushed him into getting one that was a little bit more pricey than like a bottom of the barrel one, and one he was looking at a polymer lower, and I don't like polymer lowers, and it was cheap, and I'm like, nah, you don't want polymer lower, you just want more, I just like the metal, you want more durability, and things like that, so I'm going to steer you kind of toward this. So he went ahead and got the money together and bought a little bit more expensive one. We're not talking thousands of dollars here, maybe $700. So he went ahead and got one that was a little bit more expensive than like the bottom of the barrel ones, and and things like that. So what happens next? Like clockwork, about 3 months later, the guy gets a hold of me, and he's wanting me to help him because now he needs the money and he wants to sell the AR-15. First of all, he asked me if I want it right off the bat. I'm like, nah, I'm good, because I already know this guy's going to want top dollar for this gun. I already know it. He's one of those guys that buys a gun and he thinks he's going to get what he paid for it, including taxes. Guns hold value, but you're not going to get all that back. So anyway, so I said, well, what are you looking to get for it? Well, I paid a little over $700 with tax. And I go, yeah. Okay, so what are you looking to sell it for? I knew right there, this guy's going to be stuck with this gun. He has no idea how the market works, how the used gun sales work. He's going to be stuck with this gun. So he's like, well, I don't want to lose too much money because it's, I only shot it like one time, and it's not, it's not old. I still got the box. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. So this is what I did. I said, okay, let me get back with you. So just so I already knew what something like this was going to go for. It wasn't a big hit, but he's going to take a hit. So I get online, I start going to used forum sites, and I start sending him links to places where people are selling these, giving him the used market value, what these are going for on the used market like new. And I start researching this online, okay? I help people, it's what I do. So I start researching this and sending him links. So I get a text back that's like, wow, if I'd have known it was going to be like this, I just would have bought the cheaper one. Ugh. So I'm thinking, okay, stay cool. So I text him back and I'm like, well, yeah, but keep in mind that if you bought the cheaper one, you're still going to take the same amount of a hit on the cheaper one as you are on this one. It's just going to be that the hit would be in that cheaper range. So I told him, if you're going to take a $75 hit on this gun minus your taxes, you would have taken a $75 hit on the cheaper gun minus your taxes. So I kind of had to explain things to him and get him to see the light, okay, so to speak. So after that, I was like, you know what? If this guy comes to me again about a gun, I'm not pushing him into anything expensive. He's going to turn it. He's going to sell it. And now what I do, if I help anybody to purchase a gun, give them advice, and whatever I do with them, I tell them, if you sell this gun and it looks just like it looks right now and you've used it minimally, let me show you what you're going to get on the used market before you buy this. Boom. That's what I do now. Because, hey, I love helping people in this gun industry. I love giving people advice. I love teaching new people how to shoot at the range. I'm not ever going to stop that. But I will tailor how I how I do things and how I treat certain kinds of people that I know that have certain tendencies. So I will always, even if I have somebody that I know will keep it, I'm going to tell them, hey, right now in this market, if you buy this gun and you leave this store, let me show you what it goes for in the used market. Okay, you see this? Here it is on my phone. You see that? See that price? Just wanted to let you know. So they're fully aware. So that's all, guys. I just wanted to give you a few regrets that I have and advice that I've given people over the years. But you know what? The positives are so big, I couldn't do a video long enough to tell you the good things that's happened for me helping people. And that wouldn't even be on YouTube. That's just in my real life. If I went about it on YouTube, I could do videos from here until doomsday and wouldn't be able to tell it all. So just a little bit there for you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And this is DOF, and I am signing out.